Okay, so this is going to be the second installment of sleep habits and how you can improve your sleep through habitual action. And today we're going to be talking about changing your caffeine habit. Now, we all know that caffeine late in the day will keep you awake at night, right? This we often just assume that it's the caffeine that gets into our system and into our bloodstream or whatever, and it just gives us all that extra energy. But actually, that's not what happens at all. What caffeine does is it gets into your brain and it blocks the neuroreceptors for adenosine. Now, adenosine just builds up during the day as you work. It's a byproduct, essentially, of energy production. ATP is adenosine, try something or other. And when it breaks down, you just get up at adenosine. And the longer you're awake, the more adenosine you have built up. And there's neurotransmitters, or there's neuroreceptors in your brain that are supposed to detect how much adenosine is actually in your system, in your brain. And so when it gets to a certain point, then your brain says, it's time to go to sleep, it's time to shut down, let's make those arrangements so you can get some sleep. But caffeine, what it does is it gets in there and it blocks those receptors. So it's not that the adenosine isn't there, it's there, but it just can't tell that it's there because the caffeine is in there blocking the signal. So it's really a false signal. Now, the problem with this, of course, is that once the caffeine wears off, then you have an extra large amount of adenosine that you have to get rid of. And when you sleep, that's when you're getting rid of it. It takes longer to do because you have a larger amount of it to deal with. And then you don't end up with the proper sleep cycle, right? You don't get into that deep sleep that actually is the real healing, organizing, all these different things that they assume happens in deep sleep. They just know it's very healthy. So when you have caffeine, that reduces that amount of deep sleep and it reduces your sleep overall. So caffeine. When we say that I need caffeine to be more energetic, really what you're saying is I need caffeine because I'm addicted to caffeine and I want the feeling of being energetic in the middle of the day when I'm normally kind of getting ready for slowing down. So the other problem with caffeine, of course, unless, of course, you have your coffee black with no sweetener, then there's additional problems with caffeine, right? You have caffeine, you have the cream, then you have the sugar, and all this mix gets into your digestive system, and it slows your system down to deal with the caffeine. So you end up having a longer period of time where the caffeine is active in your system. And then the other thing, of course, is a lot of times people have a muffin or some kind of carb thing with their coffee. And we're going to talk about those. I did talk about those in the 12 ideas for improving your sleep. Sugar and starch, they up your cortisol, which makes it hard to go to sleep. So not only are you having the caffeine, but you're also having sugar, which ups the cortisol, and so you end up with a double whammy there. So how do you stop having so much caffeine? You know that it's not good for you. We've just talked about the fact that it's really a false signal. It's not like you're getting more energy, you're just delaying the payment. It's like using one credit card to pay off another credit card. It's in the long run, you're paying more, right? So if you just stopped and didn't have the caffeine, then you would be much better off in the long run. But no one's going to just stop having caffeine. I mean, it's again, we started talking about you know, if you don't have caffeine, what are the effects immediately? And a lot of people get withdrawal symptoms, but they also have other problems too. Like maybe you're having coffee to be social. Maybe you're having coffee because you need the energy, because you're dragging at the end of the day, and it's because you're not getting enough sleep. You know, whatever happened, whatever the reason, you can't just quit having it. You're going to have to wean yourself off of it, and here's how. Just like when we're talking about avoiding blue light, we're going to do 3 steps, and those 3 steps are the same. First, you're going to determine when was the last coffee you have in the day. Is it just before bed? I hope not. But if it is, then okay, fine. You know when that is. If it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and you're still having troubles falling asleep and you think it's because of caffeine, then great. 2 o'clock is too early for you. So what do? Think, okay, now that I know when my last coffee is, now what are the benefits that I think I'm getting out of caffeine? Is it a social thing? Is it for energy? Is it for clarity of mind because you need to stay awake and do your work? Whatever it is, write all those benefits down, just like we did with blue light, write them down. And then the third thing you do is you're going to now come up with an action that you can do that's going to give you similar or the same benefit as the caffeine would. So again, we start talking about those usual things. Maybe you're going to do some jumping jacks or some exercise of some form to get your energy going rather than having a cup of coffee. You know, the benefit is, of course, when you have coffee, it's quick. You get to sit and you don't have to do anything. But if you do a 2-minute little exercise thing, then you don't have to deal with the caffeine and you're going to feel a little bit better. All right, so now you're not going to just quit having coffee, but maybe you're going to, instead of the last cup of coffee of the day, maybe the last half a cup of coffee of the day, instead of drinking that cup of coffee, you're going to do one of those things. It's going to take you 5 minutes, tops. Take it and if it takes you 5 minutes to do it, then that's great. Then next week, do it again. Find either something else or do something, move it up 5 minutes some way so that you're not having the whole coffee, or you're pushing the last coffee back to, you know, if your last coffee is at 2 o'clock normally, then you have one at 1:55, and then you have the next week you have 1:50, and the next week you have 1:45. You get the idea. Until you get to the point where you don't think the caffeine is affecting your sleep anymore. And reality is you may be able to just stop having caffeine, because once you start getting an adequate amount of sleep, you don't need it. You're just, you know, going to be energetic. There are always going to be highs and lows. That's a normal rhythm of life. So, you know, every 90 minutes you'll have this wave of low energy, high energy, and low energy, right? And then but if you remember that when you're low energy, that you need to do something isn't high energy, doesn't require a lot of energy, then you can start working on that rhythm and build up your stamina and improve without the coffee, which is probably what you should be doing in the long run anyway. All right, so that's coffee. We're going to talk about the next one. I've forgotten what it is now, but the next one next is going to also talk about how we can slowly build that habit into your life. All right. If you, like I said on the last video, if you want to know why sleep is so important for building of habits, then you can check out my video on why sleep is important for the development of habits. And if you just want a quick rundown of all the different habits that I mentioned for getting a good night's sleep, then you can also look that video up as well.